Hello everyone, my name is Naman Goyal and today we are going to start comparing quantities from class 7th, right? Comparing quantities is an important chapter because this chapter is also come in class 8 and the small part of this chapter you also seen in class 6, right? The part we learn about the ratio and proportion present in class 6th is in comparing quantities basically. Ratio and proportion are the concepts of what? Comparing quantities, okay? In this chapter, we learn about how we compare two or more than two objects, right? Or two things, right? Okay. So, if I'm talking about topics we are covered in today's lecture is what? Introduction, ratio in simplest form, comparison of ratios, what is equivalent ratios and percentage. So basically, first we are going to learn about all the things about ratios, and then we are going to learn about what is percentage. Okay, percentage is very important topic. You heard about percentage key, you got 70% marks, you got 90% marks. Okay, so you heard about percentage, you use the word percentage in your daily life, right? So this topic is very important. Okay, okay, now first is introduction. Okay, so what is comparing quantities in maths? So first question is arising in our mind is what is comparing quantities in maths? A ratio is a comparison between two or more like quantities in a same unit. Okay. So basically, what is the meaning of ratio? If I find the ratio of two quantities, so it means what? I want to make a comparison between the two quantities, but they are like quantities. Like quantity means they are same quantities, right? So we can compare 2 kg wheat with 2 kg rice, right? 2 kg wheat with 2 kg 3 kg rice, okay, with same unit. Either it is in the rice is in kg and wheat is also must be in kg also, right? So this suggests that a ratio can be simplified by dividing its term by the same number. Therefore this suggests that the term of the ratio can be multiplied by the same number. Okay, so recalling ratios and percentage. Okay, now see what we know that give me a minute. Okay, yes, now I can take the pen. Okay, okay, yes, now we know what ratio means, comparing two or more than two quantities, right? See, okay, now a basket has two types of fruits. We can say that 35 bananas and 7 cherries. So if I'm asking for the how many, find the ratios of the number of cherries to the number of bananas. If a basket have 35 bananas and 7 cherries, and if I'm asking for what? The ratio of number of cherries to the number of bananas. So it will be what? 7 is to 20, 35, right? Because 7 are cherries and 35 are bananas, right? Okay, now as we know that that ratio can be written in fraction form also, right? So this can be also written as 7 upon 35. Now if I simplify this, if I make it simplified, so it will be cancelled out by 5 times, right? So it will be 1 is to 5. So 7 is to 5, the ratio 7 is to 5 can be also written as 1 is to 5, right? Okay, so the number of cherries are 1/5. So how we read this? So the number of cherries which are less is 1/5 of the number of bananas. In the terms of ratio, this is 1 is to 5. Okay, are you getting my point? So this is the meaning of introduction of what? Ratios. Are you getting? Okay. Now next is what's ratio in simplified form. Ratio in what? Simplified form. So as you see in this slide, the given ratio is what? 7 by 35, and I just write down this 7 by 35 as 1 by 5. That 1 by 5 is what? The simplified form of that 7 by 35. So can be simplified, right? With the same number. 7 is the same number with 7 and 35, right? So we divided numerator and denominator by 7. Okay. Okay. So now let me show you what is the meaning of this. A ratio in the simplest form is also called a ratio in the lowest term. For example, if the ratio is 32 is to 48, is not in the simplest form because 16 is a common factor of its ascents and consents. Okay, so basically simplest form means HCF of the attendants and consequents is 1, then it is known as in simplest form, right? So if you see the ratio is 32 upon 48, this is not the in simplest form. So how we do to making this, what we do to make this in simplest form, we have to divide the numerator by 16 and denominator also by 16. So what we get, 2 upon 3. Now this 2 is to 3 is the simplest form, right? The simplest form of the ratio is 2 by to 3, dividing the first term and the second term by 16. Okay. Okay, now there are some ratios. We are going to write down them in simplest form. So we have to find out the ratio of green from the total. 36 is to 54, right? So 36 is to 54. If you see the HCF of 36 and 54 is 18. So what we are going to do, first of all, this 36 upon 54 can be written as like this. Now we are going to divide numerator as well as denominator by 18. So if I divide this, we will got 2 by 3. Got it? So this method can be used for making them simplified. And for simplified, the quantity will be same. For example, there is a question we are going to do. Write down. Find the ratio of, find the simplified, find the simplified ratio of 3 kilometer to 300 meter. Okay, so what question is asking, the simplified ratio of this. So first of all, we have to convert 3 kilometer into meter because unit must be same, right? So it will be what, 3000 meter to 300 meter, right? So the ratio can be written as 3000 upon 300. Now it is not in simplified form, so it will be cancel out. It will give 30 upon 3. Now again it is not in simplified form. This will be cancelled out by 10 times, so it will be 10 by 1. So the simplified ratio is what, 10 is to 1. Are you getting my point? So this is the meaning of what, simplified ratio. Okay, now next is what, equivalent ratio. What is the meaning of equivalent ratio? Two ratios that have the same value are called equivalent ratios. See, if we have two ratios, so after simplifying them, once we write the simplified form of both of them, if the simplified form of both of them is same, then that ratios are known as what, equivalent ratio. To find an equivalent ratio, multiply or divide both quantities by the same number. If I give you a ratio and I am told you to find the three equivalent ratios, so what you can do, you can divide by a same number with numerator and denominator, or you can multiply by a same number, then you will definitely get a equivalent ratio. Is the process same process, finding the equivalent fraction. We learn in class 6th how we find the equivalent fraction. So what we do, we just divide the numerator and denominator by a same number, or we can multiply the numerator and denominator by a same number. So this is the same process we are going to use for finding what, for finding the equivalent ratio. So write down a question. Are the ratios, are the ratios 1 is to 2 and 2 is to 3 equivalent? Okay, so what we have to do, we have to check it, either 1 is to 2 and 2 is to 3 is equivalent. Okay, so what we have to check, if 1 upon 2 is equals to 2 upon 3, then we can say that they are equivalent, right? So for 1 upon 2, what we do, I just multiply this numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3. So it will give 3 by 6, right? Now same process for 2 by 3. For 2 by 3, what I'm going to do, 2 by 3 is into 2 into 2. It will give 4 by 6, right? Now if you see 3 by 6 and 4 by 6, 4 by 6 is greater than 3 by 6. So we can say that 2 by 3 is greater than 1 by 2. So they are not equivalent. They are not equivalent ratio. They are not equivalent ratios. Are you getting my point? Okay, got it. Okay, now we are going to do some questions. Okay, let me check where I'm going to do. Yes, here I can do that. Okay, now write down a question. Okay, now following is the performance. Following is the performance of a cricket team in the matches it played. In the matches it played. Okay, the performance is given like okay, yes. Year, wins and loses. Okay, last year and this year. Last year 8 wins, 2 loss, 4 and 2, right? So question is what, in which year was the record better? Was the record better? Okay, you have to tell me that. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to find the ratios of win is to losses for both the years, and the ratio is greater for year, that year record will be better. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to find the ratio of yes, last year. First of all, we are going to find the ratio for last year. So if you find the ratio for last year, okay, so check what you will get. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to find the ratio of wins is to loses, right? So it will be what, 8 wins against 2 losses, right? So it will be 8 is to 2. So it will be 4 is to 1. Now this year, win is to loses. It will be what, 4 is to 2, right? So it will be 2 is to 1. Now if you see, it is clearly see that 4 is to 1 is greater than 2 is to 1, right? Or if you write down in fraction, first is what, 4 by 1 and next is 2 by 1. So we can also say that 4 by 1 is greater than 2 by 1. So we can say that what, the record which is last year is better than record last year. Record last year is better than this year. Okay, are you getting my point? So we can do these types of question like that. Okay, okay, now next is what, percentage. Now next thing is what we have to do, we have to do percentage. Okay, okay, see, percentage is another quantity for comparison, make comparison. Okay, okay, so in mathematics, a percentage is a number or ratio that represent a fraction of 100. We always find a percentage from 100. Mostly we find percentage from 100 only. It is often denoted by this sign. See, this sign is going to be used for percentage, and it will be represent as percent or PCT. For example, 35% is equivalent to the decimal 0.35 or fraction 35 or 100. Okay, so basically 1%, we can say that 1% can be equals to 1 upon 100 in fraction, or it will be 0.01 in decimal. So if I want to write 50% in fraction, so what we have to do, see, 1% is 1 by 100. So how we find out the value of 50%? Just multiply that 1 by 100 by 50, right? So it will be what? 50 into 1 upon 100. So it will be 5500, 50 by 100, or it will be 0.5. Okay, are you getting my point? So this is the meaning of percent, ki how we find the percent, isn't it? So first of all, we find the fraction, then we can multiply that fraction by 100 to making them percentage. Okay, so for convert in percent, for convert fraction in percent, what we have to do, we have to multiply them by 100, multiply by 100, right? So if I'm asking for what is 14 by 100 as a percent, so it will be into 100, which is 14%. Are you getting my point? Okay, now there are some questions we are going to do. Okay, now find the ratio of 6 kg to 400 grams. So now question is asking for what? The ratio of 6 kg and 400 grams. Now they will want to compare 6 kg to 400 grams. So what we have to do? First, we have to convert 6 kg is equals to what? 6000 grams. Okay. Now ratio is what? 6000 upon 400. So 20 will be cancel out. It will give 60 upon 4. Now you will cancel out this quantity by 15 times. So it will be 15 upon 1. So we can say that therefore the ratio is what? 15 is to 1. Are you getting my point? So this is the answer, required answer, we can say that. Okay. Now next is what? Next is the cost of 3 envelope is 15 rupees. Find the cost of 15 envelope. Now see, the quantity are same. So we can take let the cost of 5 envelope be X rupees. Okay. Now the cost of 3 envelope is 15. So now question is asking for what? 5 and cost of X envelope for 5 envelope cost. Question is asking for cost of 5 envelopes. So the ratio of these two quantities, number of envelopes to number of number of envelopes to total rate of that envelopes is equal, right? Or we can use here, we can use what? Unitary method also. So cost of 3 envelopes is rupees 15. So cost of one envelope is rupees 15 upon 3, which is rupees 5. So therefore total cost of 5 envelope is what? 5 into 5, right? Which is rupees 25. So rupees 25 is our required answer. Okay. Or we can do this question by using the concept of ratio. See, the ratio of this number of envelopes to rate, or we can say that number of envelopes for two quantities is 3 upon X, and which is also equals to what? 15 is to 3 upon 5, basically 3 upon 5, 15 upon X, right? So the value of X is what? 15 into 5 upon 3. It will be cancelled out 5 times. It will be gives rupees 25. Are you getting my point? So we can do like that also. Okay. Okay. And the best method to do these types of questions is unitary method. Unitary method is also the basic concept of ratio and proportions, right? Comparing quantities. Now, The cost of 7 kgs of potatoes is 42 rupees. Then how many kgs potatoes can be purchased in 96 rupees? Now you can do these questions by the concept of ratios and proportion. How we can do that? See, you can take let x kgs of potatoes can be purchased for rupees 96. So what I just take that 96 rupees में x kgs of potatoes can be bought, right? So you can tell me now. You can tell me in now see 7 kg to 42 rupees is equals to x kg to 96 rupees. According to question, we can say that 7 is to 42 is what x is to 96. So x is equals to what 7 upon 42 into 96, right? Now this will be cancelled out 6 times and it will be cancelled out by 16 times. So the value of x is 16 kg. Are you getting my point? Okay. Now we can do the same question by using the concept of what? Unitary method. So first of all, I am going to find if we purchase in 42 rupees, in 42 rupees 7 kg of potatoes we can find. So in 1 rupee, how many potatoes we can find? 7 upon 42 kg, right? So question is asking for what? 96 kg. So therefore in rupees 96, how many kg of potato we can find? 7 upon 42 into 96. Right now it will be cancelled out by 6. Now it will be cancelled out by 16 times. So 16 kg is the answer. So you will get same answer by method 2 and method 1. Okay. Any method you want to use, you can use. Okay. This is 16 kg is the answer. Okay. Now next question. The cost of 4-meter cloth is rupees 15. Then find the cost of 9-meter cloth. Okay. You can do this question by using the concept of what? Using the concept of ratios, or you can do this question by unitary method. First of all, I'm going to show this question by unitary method. So cost of 4-meter cloth is rupees 40. So cost of 1-meter cloth is what? Rupees 40 by 4, which is rupees 10. Now cost of 9-meter of cloth is what? 9 into 10, which is rupees 90. So you will get the answer as rupees 90. Now we are going to do the same question with another method. Okay. Now listen carefully. Method 2. As I told you, the ratio of the length of cloth is equals to the ratio of the cost, right? So we can say that 4 is to 9 is equals to what? 40 is to x. So it will give what? 4 upon 9 is equals to 40 upon x, right? Isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. So with the help of this concept, what we got? 4 into x is equals to 40 into 9. 40 into 9. Now this is not this is 9, right? Okay. Okay, 9. So the value of x is what? 40 into 9 upon 4. So it will be rupees 90. Okay. Are you getting my point? So this question we are doing like that. Okay. Okay. Now write down the next question. You can write down the next question. Okay. Okay. We have the space. Now we are going to do some questions. Okay. Question is the car that I own, the car that I own can go 150 kilometer with 25 liter of petrol. Okay. How far can go can it go with 30 liters of petrol? Isn't it? So what we have to do, we have to find out ki how in 1 liter how many kilometer that car go. Okay. So what we have to do, solution, we have to find out that ki in 1 meter how many kilometer that car go. Okay. So with 1 liter the car will go how much? 150 upon 25 kilometer. Okay. Okay. Okay, so if you solve this, how much you get? 6, I think, right? 6 kilometer the car go. Now question is asking for what? With 30 kilometer of petrol, how much car go? So we can say that with 30 liter, the car will go is what? 6 into 30, which is what? 180 kilometer. Are you getting my point? So we can do these questions like that. Okay. Any doubt? Okay, so what I told you about the meaning of percent, right? I told you what is the meaning of percent. Now we are going to do some questions of percent, right? Okay. Now write down the question. Write 1 upon 3 as percent. Write 1 upon 3 as percent. So as I told you, if I want to convert the fraction to percent, so what we can do? We multiply that quantity by 100 only. So if I want to write down 1 upon 3 as percent, so it will be what? 1 upon 3 into 100. So it becomes what? 100 by 3%, isn't it? Or if you write down this 100 by 3 as mixed fraction, so it will be 33 1 upon 3%, right? We can do like that. Okay. Okay. Now next question is what? Write down out of 25 children 25 children in a class, 15 are 15 are girls. Okay. Then what is the percentage of girl? Then what is the percentage of girls? Okay. This question we have. So percentage of girls is what? Number of girls upon total student into 100. So percentage of girls is what? Number of girls, how many girls are there? 15 girls are there, right? So 15 upon total number of students, children are 25 into 100, right? So if you cancel out this one by four times, it will be cancelled out. So it will give 60% is the answer, right? So 60% are girls and 40% are boys, because total percent is what? 100%. From 100%, 60% are what? Girls, right? So 40% are boys, right? Now we have some space, so we can do some more questions, right? Okay, so write down a question. Okay, so what I told you what is the meaning of percent, right? Okay, Now write down a question. Question is bowls cost rupees 90. Okay. What would be the cost of 10 such bowls? Okay. See, again, we can use the concepts of unitary method in this question, right? Because we have the cost of 6 balls. First, we are going to find the cost of one balls. Then we can find the cost of 10 such balls, right? So what we have to do, we have to find out the solution. Cost of one ball. See, what is the cost of one ball, which is 90 upon 6. Okay. So if you solve 90 upon 6, so how much we got? 15 rupees, right? Okay. Now, next is cost of how much ball? 10 balls. So it will be what? Rupees 15 into 10, which is 150, right? So the cost for 10 such balls is what? Rupees 150. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? See, these questions can be done by the concept of ratios and by unitary method also, right? Which is very simple. Unitary method is very simple, right? Okay, now I gave you some questions, some more questions. Question is, convert 5 by 4 as 2%. Now I told you percentage can be find by 100 only, right? But the fraction is a improper fraction. See, all the fraction we take are proper fraction, means the denominator is greater than numerator. But in this question, the numerator is greater than the denominator. So we can say that the percentage can be greater than 100 also. So in this case, the percentage is greater than 100. So what we have to do, we have to find out the percentage. So it will be 5 by 4 into 100, right? So if we multiply 100 by 5 by 4, then how much we got? This will be 25. And if you see, we got 125%. Okay. So percent can be greater than 100, but generally we can say that the percentage always less than 100. Okay. So we are going to take a quick review what we learn in today's class. Okay. Okay. So comparison of fractions, right? I told you in the questions how we compare the fractions, right? Okay, if I am not told you, then I'm going to tell you now. Okay, see how we compare the fractions, right? Comparison of fractions. So if I want to compare 3 by 4 and 5 by 6, okay, so there are two methods. So first we can do what? We want to make the denominator same for this fraction and for this fraction. So what we can do? We going to multiply what? Multiply by 6 in numerator and denominator to 3 by 4, and multiply by 4 in numerator of denominator of 5 by 6. So what we are going to do? 3 by 4 into 6 into 6 and 5 by 6 into 4, right? Okay. So what we get? 18 upon 24, and it gives 20 upon 24. Now if you see that 20 is greater than 18, so this is greater than that one. So we can say that 5 by 6 is greater than 3 by 4. Now this is the method we have. There is another method. So what you have to do? You have to cross multiply or cross product. Now change to decimal, change to common denominator. There are three method. First is cross multiply. Change to decimal means you can change 3.4 in decimal form, you can change 5 by 6 in decimal form, then you can compare and change to same common denominator. So what method we are going to use here? This is third method. We change the common denominator. Okay. So if you see, if you cross multiply, so 3 6 are 18 and 4 5 are 20. So now we have 20 is greater than 18. So we can say that this fraction is greater than this fraction, right? Now, if you do this question by comparing decimals, so what you can do, 3 by 4 can be written as 0.750 and 5 by 6 can be written as 0.833. Now, it is clearly sees that 0.8333 is greater than what? 0.75, isn't it? We can say that, right? We can say that 0.833 is greater than what? 0.75, right? So we can say that. Now this method is what we do just now. Okay, 3 by 4 is greater than this method. Are you getting my point? Okay. So this is what comparing what fractions, and that technique we are going to use in this question, right? Okay. Okay. Now see, we in today's lecture we learn about what? We learn about introduction, ratios in simplest form, comparison of ratios, equivalent ratio, and percentage, right? Okay. So what is I told what is the introduction I told you what is the meaning of ratio and proportion. See, comparing quantities is very important because ratio and proportion is there. And as I told you in the earlier of this lecture, ratio proportion is also in class 6, right? Okay. Now ratio, how we write down the ratio in simplest form, comparison of two ratios, equivalent ratios, percentage, right? And after that we do so many questions, right? Okay. So thank you so much. This is enough for today's lecture. Hope we will see you in next lecture. Thank you so much. Stay safe and having fun.